Babies with afros, my folks in their 80s. The Deanna Lawson moment at the Guggenheim was crazy. Vaccines, coffee, ice cream, the book 1619. These are a few of my favorite things. Instagram fits, TikTok audio bits. When I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Magnetic lashes, last season's designers. Legal weed in more places for everyone but minors. Black trans rights and safety, no more killer cop fiends. These are a few of my favorite things. Architectural Digest, my new conquest. Podcast Culturati. I simply remember my favorite things. And that's how I know I'm free, y'all. Free, free, free. Welcome to Culturati, Conversations with Kierna Mayo. I'm Kierna, coming your way one last time for 2021. On Culturati, we explore the connection between the culture, the community, and the self through a Black feminist lens. The show is a mix of cultural news and honest conversation with leading creatives that goes deeper than the usual hype. We talk pop culture and politics, media, love, sex, and struggle. And when it's finally the end of another challenge-filled year and time for a Black woman to actually take stock, she does so with a J and a glass of Vouv. Happy holidays, y'all. We made it.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the
Hold
house...
it now, wait, hold it. That's played out. Hit it!
The year started with a bang. White boys literally banging at the door of the Capitol building, erecting gallows and foaming at the mouth. But hey, voting rights notwithstanding, we still inaugurated the better option by far. And with that came one Kamala for the people, our historic first Black and Asian American female vice president.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution.
Also, for 85 minutes one November day, our first Black and Asian American female president. If you blinked, you missed it, but it's true. Joe Biden had a colonoscopy, and we had a Howard University AKA as president. Madam VP is the highest-ranking female official in U.S. history. Though questions and suggestions for the vice president most certainly remain, we are not going to wrap up this entire peculiar-ass year of a year and act like a mighty thing didn't happen. Kamala Davy Harris. In 2021, representation met power.
That I will well and faithfully discharge
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Culturati family, I've been thinking about the year gone by, pondering all the 2020 residual matter that was a year called 2021. Residual matter, of course, means something a bit different for every one of us. I have life, I have love, I have joy, I have work, give thanks. At the very least, I should say that up top. But I am too a Black woman in America, and damn, culture remains a high-stakes game. And what is Black, be it language or bodies, remains subject to hijacking and sometimes death. Season's greetings, LOL? I'm not gonna Debbie Down you that much, but we have to tell the truth. And this year was a revelation, was it not? Long gone are the days of thousands of people in the streets marching in defense of Black lives. I mean, did that even happen? Our most current iteration of this all anti-Black everything season in politics and culture is being ignited by a raging, overt, over-the-top white supremacy back like the return of mom jeans. A to hell with the whole democracy situation kind of white supremacy. A thing so wily and gaslighty that it turned critical race theory, a framework to help us begin to understand how this systemic racial hierarchy shit they created works, into the problem with race. White people don't want their children to feel guilty for being white, they say. Okay, copy. It's 2021, soon 22. Books are actually being banned. Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot 3 people with an AK-47 at a Black Lives Matter protest, is walking free. People still out here unvaccinated. Hell, people still out here still cheering for Bill Cosby. Voting rights and reproductive rights, anyone? Yeah, so if you're me, hopeful as you remain, some remarkably unseemly happenings went down this year. I call it the year of the great reverberation. The backlash after party for your ass. But there's good news. Black women still exist.
Sis, you doing a good job. Sis, you doing a good job.
By now, you know how much I adore us. You know I obsess over the media and live for the moments. So who better than me to gift you with a year in culture wrap-up? If you're anything like me, you are. You're still more in the house than you are out and about. And you spent more time this year consuming all types of content. Some junk, some jewels, late at night, with your morning coffee, with another person in the bed, or not, whatever. Well, at least I'm not the only one scrolling on my phone and watching more YouTube than the kids. But where we may differ is that come end of the year, where we are right now, I'm still thinking about a lot of it. Maybe that's a work hazard. They don't call me a media maven for nothing. So please enjoy this curation of 2021 moments in the culture that I culled just for you in no particular order. Like we typically do in this cute little hodgepodge of a show, this will spark up a mash of emotion, holiday cheer, and maybe a good year-end cry. But not like Adele level. A smattering of big moments and small wonders. A fact-finding mission which concludes that we are, in fact, all the things.
It's a beautiful day to be a Black woman. It's a beautiful day to be a Black woman. It's a beautiful day to be a Black woman.
Got it? This is your year-end notice, sis. You're still the center of the world, and on Culturati, you will continue to be long after the eggnog and edibles kick in.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the Culturati year-end list. Remember when a Black woman journalist from Waterloo, Iowa, Nicole Hannah-Jones, of fly red hair fame, and a Pulitzer in her purse, discovered America? Like, actually. The 1619 Project, quote, aims to reframe the country's history by placing the consequences of slavery and the contributions of Black Americans at the very center of the United States' national narrative, end quote. The 1619 Project happened, honey, which led to the podcast, which led to the November 21 bestseller, which led to book banning because white supremacy lives to die another day. Well, the book is a masterpiece, a game-changing new history. The work of Nicole Hannah-Jones gives us life, our ancestors too. Here she is on Good Morning America with Robin Roberts discussing why the 1619 Project actually should be taught in schools.
So I think children are, they are able to understand complex stories and nuanced histories, and it is empowering to actually be taught a history that reflects the country that we see. So I think that it's so important for young people. I have an 11-year-old daughter. Right. she can understand this. And when you look at the world and you see all of the polarization and all of the tension, these narratives we've learned don't explain that. And when you give students a more accurate accounting of, as you said, American history, not Black American history, but American history, I think it is empowering for them to go out into the world.
Remember when What Would Rihanna Do was the thing any self-respecting Black woman asked herself? Keep asking. Sis hit Forbes' billionaire list last August with the mega success of her size-inclusive lingerie line, Fenty. And then, in September, her third epic Amazon Prime Savage by Fenty extravaganza made it abundantly 10,000% clear that, well, fuck your white horse and your carriage still.
I always lead with my heart. I lead with what I know. And what I know is what I've seen growing up in my culture, in my home, in my household, and my fans and the people that I know connect to what I make and create. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Here's Ree from the Savage by Fenty 2021 moment.
We challenge ourselves every year, every show, every campaign, every collection to push what that means for us and for everyone else. We want people to see themselves here.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I asked you a question at the Met Gala about you being an immigrant and how your outfit represented American fashion. Tell me about how important that message is, being a successful, impactful woman and an immigrant in America.
I mean, it is the American dream. So to see immigrants having a tough time in this country over the last few years, it's heartbreaking. And I identify because I'm one of them. And to see the growth that I've been able to have in this country, I wish that opportunity could be for everyone. So I will rep them to the fullest.
Heads up, this clip mentions sexual assault and abortion. Skip ahead about 7 minutes if you need to. Remember when Congresswoman Cori Bush told us that, quote, in the summer of '94, I was raped, I became pregnant, and I chose to have an abortion. Cori Anika Bush, mother, registered nurse, pastor, activist, and as of last January, Missouri's 1st District's new representative. One of the boldest and bravest voices in Congress, Cori took the floor in September to discuss the importance of reproductive justice for all. My God, how have we made it this far without the force of this woman in American politics?
That summer, I was just happy that I passed my classes and that I finished high school. Shortly after graduating, I went on a church trip to Jackson, Mississippi. I had many friends on that trip, and while there, I met a boy, a friend of a friend. He was a little older than I was, about maybe 20 years old. That first day we met, we flirted, we talked on the phone. While on the phone, he asked me, could he come over to my room? I was bunking with a friend and hanging out and said he could stop by. But he didn't show up for a few hours, and by the time he did, it was so late that my friend and I had gone to bed. I answered the door and quietly told him he could come in, imagining that we would talk and laugh like we had done over the phone. But the next thing I knew, he was on top of me, messing with my clothes and not saying anything at all. What is happening? I thought. I didn't know what to do. I was frozen in shock, just laying there as his weight pressed down upon me. When he was done, he got up, he pulled up his pants, and without a word, he left. That was it. I was confused, I was embarrassed, I was ashamed. I asked myself, was it something that I had done? The next morning, I wanted to talk to him. I just wanted to say something to him, but he refused to talk to me. By the time that trip ended, we still hadn't spoken at all. About a month after the trip, I turned 18. A few weeks later, I realized I had missed my period. I reached out to a friend and asked the guy from the church trip to contact me. I waited for him to reach out, but he never did. I never heard from him. I was 18, I was broke, and I felt so alone. I blamed myself for what had happened to me. But I knew I had options. I had known other girls who had gone to a local clinic to get birth control and some who had gotten abortions. So I looked through the yellow pages and scheduled an appointment. During my first visit, I found out that I was 9 weeks pregnant, and then the panic set in. How could I make this pregnancy work? How could I, at 18 years old and barely scraping by, support a child on my own? And I would have been on my own. I was stressed out, knowing that the father wouldn't be involved and that I feared my parents would kick me out of the home, the best parents in the world, but I feared they would kick me out. My dad was a proud father and always bragging about his little girl and how he knew I would go straight to college and become attorney general. That was his goal for me. So with no scholarship intact and college out of the foreseeable future, I couldn't bear the thought of disappointing my dad again. I knew it was a decision I had to make for myself, so I did. My abortion happened on a Saturday. There were a few other people in the waiting room, including one other young black girl. I overheard the clinic staff talking about her, saying she had ruined her life, and that's what they do. They being black girls like us. Before the procedure, I remember going in for counseling and being told that if I moved forward with this pregnancy, my baby would be jacked up because the fetus was already malnourished and underweight. Being told that if I had this baby, I would wind up on food stamps and welfare. I was being talked to like trash, and it worsened my shame. Afterwards, while in the changing area, I heard some girls, all white, talking about how they were told how bright their futures were, how loved their babies would be if they adopted, and that their options and their opportunities were limitless. In that moment, listening to those girls, I felt anguish. I felt like I had failed. I went home, my body ached, and I had this heavy bleeding. I felt so sick. I felt dizzy, nauseous. I felt like something was missing. I felt alone, but I also felt so resolved in my decision. Choosing to have an abortion was the hardest decision I had ever made. But at 18 years old, I knew it was the right decision for me. It was freeing, knowing I had options. Even still, it took long for me to feel like me again until most recently, when I decided to give this speech. So to all the black women and girls who have had abortions and will have abortions, we have nothing to be ashamed of. We live in a society that has failed to legislate love and justice for us. So we deserve better, we demand better, we are worthy of better. So that's why I'm here to tell my story. So today, I sit before you as that nurse, as that pastor, as that activist, that survivor, that single mom, that congresswoman, to testify that in the summer of 1994, I was raped, I became pregnant, and I chose to have an abortion. I yield.
Remember when the summer 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games were dominating the media landscape and U.S. Olympic gymnast Simone Biles was the darling of the games? Until she wasn't. After pulling out of team finals due to mental health concerns, she was incessantly attacked in the media and on social media. But she'd have none of it. Clapping back on Instagram, Simone said, "I can't hear you over my 7 Olympic medals," which tied me for the most decorated gymnast ever, as well as most decorated American gymnast. Boop! Gotta say it again. These Gen Z powerhouses will kill you dead with their keep it real quotient.
Can you explain what the pressure feels like on you?
It feels heavy. It's like the weight of the world on your shoulders, and I'm very small, so I feel like at times it's very overwhelming. But whenever you get so overwhelmed and have triggers, it's just like I have to focus on my mental well-being, and that's what I did.
You sure did. That was brave.
Thank you. It was hard. Working 5 years for a dream and just having to give it up, it was not easy at all.
To close out the year, Essence featured Simone on the December cover with the powerful line, "The Year of Radical Self-Care." Here she is on the Today Show with Hoda Kotb, being vulnerable and being a brave heart.
When you said that you were afraid of letting people down, that's a lot to carry too, isn't it?
Yeah, for one person, especially just like my family back home, they sacrifice so much. You work 5 years for something and you have a whole team surrounding you and you do it all together. And it's just like I get here and it didn't work how I wanted it to.
But it ended.
We ended on a high, so very grateful and thankful for that. But I still feel like we go back home and there's still a lot of things I need to work on internally and mentally to kind of feel like I had success here.
Thanks for reminiscing with me, my little Kwanzaa elves. I've got a few more 2021 memorable moments for you. We'll be right back. This is Culturati, Conversations with Kierna Mayo. I'm Kierna. Remember that time Mother Cicely Tyson was giving interviews and serving looks at 96? Black womanhood is expansive, and there are many legends now in the ancestral realm, but there is but one Cicely Tyson.
I was a very shy child. If you got 15 minutes of words out of me, you got plenty. I was a thinker.
In an acting career that spanned more than 7 decades, she changed what was possible for Black women in film and television and on stage, and she collected the hardware along the way. An Emmy Hall of Fame award in 2020, 3 Emmys and 16 noms, the Academy Honorary Award. Ooh, that was a beautiful moment when Ava DuVernay presented her with that in 2018.
You are magnificent, Miss Tyson, are not only the flower itself, you are the maker of the flower. You are the seed for so many of us and the rose that we adore. We blossom because of you and for you. This is not true only of Black actresses and storytellers that you've encouraged and empowered and enlightened and inspired, but of all actors, all storytellers, all film lovers, all colors, all creeds, all cultures. I hope you know that.
I'm not done. A Tony, a Peabody Award, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and that's just to name a few. We don't need external validation, but here is a Black woman who commanded the attention of the world. Only 2 days before passing away in January, her final memoir, Just As I Am, was released. With a sense of calm reflection, she spoke with CBS Good Morning's Gayle King about her great life and times.
Do you feel like you have more to do?
Yes, that's why I'm still here. I mean, what my life became is not what I expected. I had no idea that I would touch anybody.
When the time comes, what do you want us to remember about you?
I've done my best. That's all.
Rest in peace, Queen. You will never be forgotten. Remember that time Alicia Keys and her husband, Cassine Dean, also known as Swiss Beats, were on the December 2021 cover of Architectural Digest, and oh my God. Hold up. Have you seen their Oceanside mansion?
Everything was curated. Everything was designed for the space. One of Wallace Cunningham's best works.
It's called the Razor House in La Jolla, California. Because one side of the house is a design wonder. It literally comes to a straight edge like a razor.
Kids who love Iron Man, they're like, that's the Iron Man house. Listen, not only kids.
Grown-ups. I don't blame Tony Starks and them using this as an example to fight the world.
Exactly, to save the world, right? We definitely are.
To save the world.
Right, we're saving the world from here, too.
Yeah.
Do you understand the magnitude of their Black fine art collection? You don't. Art News says, quote, through their holdings amassed in what has come to be known as the Dean Collection, the couple have minted themselves as avid patrons with a mission to build a protective community around the artists they support, end quote. The Power Music couple has amassed more than 1,000 works from a range of artists, including Toyin Olutola, Cause, Jeffrey Gibson, and Ansel Adams. You know, the folks we have posters from. There is no playing catch up with these two. All we can do is admire and hope the invite to the crib comes with a museum tour.
We have our amazing Derek Adams here, which is occupying the entire wall. And it's so beautiful because we get to see kind of the fun of swimming and having a good time. We know we're right on the water, so it fits into...
I feel like it's like a family portrait of our family. Never really seen Black people swimming in pools too much, so that piece was like real strong for the living room.
So this is a really special room for us. I think it has a wide spectrum of art and life and experience in it, and it feels really good. We love that our kids are able to grow up seeing such dynamic art around them.
Definitely.
We have tastes and pieces of, African art and different pieces all over the world that are a part of this room. I love that for it. It just feels like it's a mixture of a lot of different cultures.
Remember that time a young Black woman told her mother and grandmother that she was poly, amorous, many loves, on air? Oh, hey, Willow Smith, hey. 1/3 of the red hot show Red Table Talk on Facebook Watch.
How can I structure the way that I approach relationships with that in mind?
Yeah.
Also, doing research into polyamory, the main reasons why monogamous relationships or why marriage, why divorces happen is infidelity.
Yeah.
Let's say you haven't always been the kind of person that wanted to have sex all the time, but your partner is.
Right.
Are you gonna be the person to say, just because I don't have these needs, you can't have them either?
Right.
Earlier this year, I'd taken a Culturati sex course with Sam Riddell from the Inner Hoe Uprising podcast. Now that was a sex education, admittedly, but time is flying, my dear. Millennials are almost old heads. Ooh, I couldn't wait to say that. But for real, Gen Z women are also very much unapologetically exploring their sexuality and talking that sex positivity talk too. Listen to Miss Willow go.
The history of marriage really irks me.
Yeah.
Just the history of marriage as a whole and what it has represented over the years, for women in particular. I feel like the only way that I would get married is, let's say me and my partner or partners wants to help people and we need to put our finances together in order to make that vision happen.
Right.
That's the only way I could see myself getting married.
Remember when Issa Rae called it quits on Issa D?
Who's stressed? Not you. Who the best? It's you. Who gonna kill it? It's you. I'm sorry, I can't. Not today. Wait, what? I thought you were supposed to be hyping me up. Yeah, I stay hyping you up, but I got shit going on over here too. And it's real life shit. You do? Yeah, bitch. It's like your life, but worse. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I do got an attitude.
Is this the end? Yep. But no, not for the creator. We know boss woman Issa Rae has a full slate of shit up her sleeve. She's scheduled to play Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, in the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We know this, and yet we still have to deal with the immediate crisis at hand. After 5 seasons, Insecure, Issa's beloved HBO creation, has a 2021 curtain call. Every episode of every season sparked massive Black Twitter debates, but there's no debating the impact this phenomenon has had on an entire generation, let alone on Hollywood. Born from an internet Black Girl That Could series. Issa roots for everybody Black, and that's why we will always root for her.
I don't think it really hit me until we announced that the show was going to be ending. And then it was just like all the love. It made me emotional. And when I think about, I've talked about it a million times before, the shows from the 90s and the impact that they had on me, I hope that, we'll have an impact on the next generation in the same way, where they cherish it with their own memories.
Listen to our girl having a little informal last wind down back in November on The Breakfast Club.
Did you have any pressure writing this season because you know it's the last season and you know social media is very engaged with Insecure?
My God, yes. I mean, there was hella pressure. I think with 1 through 4, we were really good about shutting all that out. But the weird thing about 4 was we were in the writer's room or the writer's Zoom while the show was airing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to see reactions in real time, and that was interesting. And then, it just adds the extra pressure when people tell you the show means something to them. When I think about other shows that have ended and they messed it up, like that weighs on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
But, we got freed later when one of our writers was like, we keep acting like we're ending the show, and these characters' lives aren't ending. Like, they're still gonna live on after this. So let's treat it like we're gonna write a season 6. And that really changed the game.
Remember when I reviewed Missy Elliott's 1997 debut, Super Duper Fly, in Vibe magazine, and then someone wrote a letter to the editor in the following issue saying, quote, Kierna Mayo must be a close friend of Missy Misdemeanor Elliott because anyone who would write a raving review about her album must be her girl. Well, that didn't age well. Flash forward to today. My BFF Missy is a 4-time Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, producer, and this year she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It was surely time. Missy been worth it, been working it, putting her thing down, flipping it, and reversing it. She's a female MC who paved the way for so many, and she's a girl's girl. Missy Misdemeanor Elliott is one of our most brilliant links to a hip-hop past, but everything about sis will forever read future. Here she is paying tribute to the shoulders she stands on at her Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony. Shoot, I wish she was my close friend.
I wanted to take the time real quick to say I kind of give this to my female MCs in hip-hop, to my sisters in hip-hop. I want to say I love each and every one of y'all, the ones that's popping now, the ones that's about to be popping. But I want to give a big, big shout out to the godmothers of this, and that is Queen Latifah, Moni Love, Sha Rock, Angie Stone, Roxanne Shante, Yo-Yo, MC Light, Salt and Pepper. And I know I'm probably missing some, but all of y'all who started before me, because y'all are the backs that we stand on. Y'all are the foundation. And I couldn't stand here. Y'all ran so we could walk. Y'all stood up for something so we could sit comfortably. So I thank y'all for this moment.
So happy holidays to you and you and you. Thank you for being such a gift to me. You even let me sing my favorite things to you. Now that is love. Enjoy yourself, practice self-care this holiday. Maybe put your phone down. Go easy on your family. As we enter a new year, let us remember the lessons from years gone by and yet continue to dream a dream. I leave you with but one wish, Culturati family. A world where all of us, every single one of us, is safe and free. We'll be back in the new year with more episodes of Culturati, Conversations with Kierna Mayo. Culturati, Conversations with Kierna Mayo is presented by Breakbeat and produced by PRX Productions. I'm the host and chief creator, Kierna Mayo. Our production team is Florence Burrow Adams, Sierra Spragley Ricks, Jonathan Cabral, John Blackshire, and Jocelyn Gonzalez. Dave Mays and Kendrick Ashton are executive producers for Breakbeat. Visit breakbeatmedia.com or at Breakbeat Media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're feeling Culturati, be sure to follow me at Kierna Mayo, that's KIERNAMAYO, on Instagram and Twitter. Share, comment, and subscribe to Culturati wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening to Culturati, Conversations with Kierna Mayo.